Oh, man, I'm flabbergasted. I've been thinking for like an hour about what to say. I really don't know what to say, man. Before we start, this is a non-spoiler review. I'll put the time code for whenever spoilers start, all that kind of stuff. So don't worry about that for right now. I'm just going to talk about the movie. Before we start, I just want to say that I know I talk a lot of crap about Marvel. I talk a lot of crap about MCU. I talk a lot of crap about Wanda. You know, I got my Wanda haters out there. But I was actually genuinely excited for this movie. After Spider-Man No Way Home, you know, this whole multiversal stuff coming into the MCU is really cool. You got Loki, you got all kind of branches of multiverse stuff coming. It's really cool. And I was looking forward to Doctor Strange. I was looking forward to it as soon as it got announced. As soon as I found out Sam Raimi was being the director, I was hooked. I was in. I was like, okay, it's gonna be dope. I loved the first Doctor Strange. I loved everything about that movie. And I was like, man, this is good. This is gonna be peak cinema. It's gonna be a good movie. I know I had to, joke about it, saying it's gonna be mid, all that stuff. But I'm always excited for Marvel content when it comes out. But man, this was a shit. Put the cameos away. Put the hype away. Put everything that going into this movie that you think I'm going to talk about away. It's not about the cameos. It's not about the hype. It's not about what you expect going into this movie. Solely based off the movie alone, it just wasn't good. It wasn't. There's pacing issues. There's story issues. There's character arcs that aren't finalized. I think. I mean, when you start this movie, you're starting in another universe where America Chavez and a Defender Strange are running, and you're like, okay, we're in it, and I couldn't even get attached to that for some reason. I'm like, okay, this is cool. It's a new Strange. I know this isn't the Doctor Strange we've come to know. It's a new Strange. That's dope. But even whenever that happens, I'm like, it's a whole CGI thing. I mean, it just didn't feel good. After coming off watching a movie like The Batman, where everything's real, everything you feel real and grounded, coming into this movie, I didn't feel that. Right off the gate, I didn't feel that. And then you go, you're in New York, you go where Doctor Strange is, he's, doing his stuff, doing his spiel, he's at a wedding, all kind of cool stuff like that. You get into his character, and then another action stuff happens. America Chavez pops up again, and there is some cool action with that. A big, squid man with one eye. That's cool. They slice it off. A couple wonky CGI stuff, which wasn't bad. It didn't take me out of the moment. It wasn't. I mean, it just an action sequence. It was a Marvel action sequence, and it was cool. It's cool. But then you kind of like lose what Doctor Strange is doing as his character, because it takes this whole side piece of going to develop Wanda's character. This whole thing is about pretty much Wanda, and that's not a problem because she's a good character. I think Wanda is a good character. Obviously, the fans make it worse, but I do think Wanda is a good character. I think they built towards her over the last 10 years since Age of Ultron really good. She's had a lot of story. She's had a lot of background. She's had a lot of development, and I think she's really good. And you pick up after her after what happens in WandaVision, and that's cool. You see Doctor Strange go, and right then, You know that she's bad. You know she's a villain. She confesses. She's like, okay, I'm trying to get America Chavez. She confesses. And then the movie takes off. Then it's this whole Doctor Strange versus Wanda chase sequence going multiverse to multiverse to multiverse. And that's the movie. That's literally the end of the movie. Wanda's trying to catch America Chavez. Doctor Strange is trying to prevent that. And, outside of that, that's it. You don't get the development of Doctor Strange's character as you think you would get. I thought going into this movie, we would see Doctor Strange develop more after, Avengers Infinity War. The last time we see him is in Spider-Man No Home, but right before that, it's Avengers Infinity War, where he snaps and he has that gut decision of giving Thanos a stone. And that's the coolest thing. We noticed that, and he talks about that a little bit in the movie. He has a sequence in the funeral with one of his old buddies being like, is that the best choice you could do? Stuff like that. And then it just goes nowhere. I feel like this movie should have been more of a character arc of Doctor Strange and Wanda, but mainly Doctor Strange, going through his character, going to see is he really a bad guy? Is he really the best possible Sorcerer Strange that he thinks he is? You know, kind of back to what was hinted at in Doctor Strange 1. That whole movie is about him finding himself and trying to make sure that he is the best person that he can be to be a Sorcerer Supreme. You know, it's always this self-doubt of him trying to be a better character. And I think it loses sight of that in this movie. If they're not going to go the routes of hype, like I thought they were in this movie, then they should have developed more story. They should have developed more story for Doctor Strange, one of the main characters, but they didn't. Back to Wanda. Like I said, I think she had the biggest... she's a villain in this movie. Surprising. She's a villain right off the bat. First 5 minutes you see her, she's a villain. She's a villain the whole movie. No redeeming arcs, not anything like that. She is a villain in this movie. She's trying to get her little... her little baby kids. She's trying to get her fake kids that aren't even real. This whole movie, she's trying to kill America Chavez to get her real kids. And it's like, okay, cool. She's a villain. I dig it. I actually like her as a villain. She's scary. The Sam Raimi arcs are scary. She got a little horror in there. I dig it. But it just goes nowhere, man. The last sequence with her trying to get her kids, it's pretty corny. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't resonate with me that much, and I wanted it to. I wanted her to, you know, either become fully a villain and end it. You know, that Two-Face quote: "You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself a villain." I wanted her to do that. I wanted her to be the best she could be, and then either end it or do whatever. And it just fell flat for me. Outside of that, outside of the negatives, I just spewed a lot of negatives. Outside of that, I really enjoyed the Sam Raimi arcs he brought to this movie. Like I said, I was hyped for him to be the director. I was hyped for him to do what he did in his Evil Dead movies, in his Drag Me to Hell movie, in the Spider-Man trilogy. I was excited for that because he is a very different director than every director's on the market. He has a very different way of shooting his shots. The visuals that he does, it's very Doctor Strange-esque, and I like that. Those parts of the movie are the best parts, I think, where you feel that Sam Raimi is the director. That is where you feel the best about this movie because it's different and it's good. A lot of the Rotten Tomatoes, a lot of reviewers were shitting on this movie for being different, and I think the differentness in this movie is the best part. Every single time you realize that, okay, this is his shot. This isn't a formula MCU shot of some other director. Every time you see the way of directing and his way of visuals, it's amazing. That is the best part. The kill sequences, the gruesomeness of the movie, it's different. It's amazing. It's everything a Sam Raimi movie has been in the past, and that is the number one thing for this movie going. But story-wise, pacing-wise, it just lets you down. You go from multiverse to multiverse to multiverse, and then at the end, you know, Doctor Strange is doing something over here, something's going on over here. It's a lot of jumping back and forth and a lot of just not a lot of, you know, story of where they are at, I feel like. A couple months ago or even before that, when I went and saw Spider-Man No Way Home, when I went and saw the Batman, you feel those characters. Like, you know what arcs they're going through, and it feels good. You know, Tom Holland's arc, the Batman, the realism of that, and the way you feel that groundedness, it's good. It makes you care more. But then in this movie, you know, you get hints of that. You get hints of that with Doctor Strange. You get hints of that with Wanda when they're going through their character beats. You know, you get hints of them feeling this raw emotion of Doctor Strange wants to be with Christine, his love interest. He wants to be with her, but he knows he can't. You have hints of Wanda wanting to be with her kids, but you know she will do anything to be with them. You feel that, and they don't come to the resolution you want them to, and it just wasn't that good. All right, this is the point where we're gonna stop and talk about spoilers, because I think that's a big part of why this movie isn't going to resonate with the basic level of fans, but also something that, you know, you have to talk about. Like, I have to talk about this stuff because it fell flat, man. Okay, so cameo wise, we get John Krasinski and Mr. Fantastic, amazing. We get Black Bolt, Inhumans, cool. Not the best one. It's cool. I like seeing him. We get Captain Carter. We get Rambo. Monica Rambeau, her mom, as a Captain Marvel character. Amazing. I honestly thought that was pretty cool. And we get Charles Xavier. Patrick Stewart, Charles Xavier. And that's insane. Like, that's like a Tobey Maguire level cameo. and it's just shit on. It's just shit on. I obviously know that Wanda has to run through them. She has to run through them. But when you split Mr. Fantastic like spring cheese, or spray cheese, like a cheese roll, like what the hell, man? I mean, I don't know. It's cool. It's cool to see Mr. Fantastic get ripped apart like that, because we haven't seen that before. But it's just like, okay. And then she just snaps Charles Xavier's neck, I guess, because she's a better mind person than Charles Xavier himself, Professor X. Okay, cool. But like, they don't, like, those are like, especially the Charles Xavier one, that's a big cameo. That a lot of people love that character. 10, 20 years ago, seeing X-Men 1, 2, 3, Days of Future Past, all those X-Men movies, and then for them to just snap his neck and, do that to a character we love. Like, imagine if Tobey Maguire would have just got clapped by Mysterio, easy, like that, in Spider-Man No Way Home. How would people feel about that? That would be terrible. But I mean, I guess it was cool. It's cool to see them for the 5 minutes they were in it. But then it's just like, okay. And then, with all the hype that was in this movie, it's called the Multiverse of Madness. It's literally called the Multiverse of Madness. You would think they would go through the multiverse of Marvel. You would think, right? You think you'd get a Deadpool. You think you get a Hugh Jackman. You think you get anybody else. I mean, the only legacy character here was Professor X. This is like if in Spider-Man No Way Home, instead of doing Tobey Maguire and Andrew, they did the bit where it was actually variants of Tom Holland. That's kind of like what this was, because you have the variant of Captain Carter, you have the variant of Captain Marvel. Those are cool. Like that's a cool concept, but like if you're gonna do that, I don't know. I just feel like I feel like you should have like brought something else on the table. I mean, you have Deadpool coming in. You're going to have to make a Deadpool 3 in the MCU. And you know that, you're going to have to make an X-Men soon. I don't know. I understand how I understand how fans and everybody else let their self down. I understand that, because that's exactly how I feel. Like, they didn't say anything about them bringing these cameos in and stuff like that. And I understand that completely. But, like, it just baffles me that, like, you missed that opportunity. Especially, even worse, you miss that opportunity and you don't even build it up with a better character arc of the main characters of Doctor Strange and Wanda. Like, how are you gonna miss an opportunity to make one of the biggest Marvel movies ever with cameos after cameos after cameos, but not do that, and then also not make a good character arc for the characters that are leading the movie, Doctor Strange and Wanda? Like, I don't understand that. I don't know, cause like. Yeah, man, I'm baffled. I'll probably give myself a couple days to think about this. I definitely don't think I'll see it again. Oh man, I'm just confused. I feel like I feel like I just need to pass out and go to bed. Probably. It's like it's like a 6 out of 10. It's like a 7.5 out of 10. It's definitely not the best Marvel movie. It's not even a top 10 Marvel movie. I think it's definitely not the worst. I think there's beats of it that are great, and I think there's beats of it that are shit. A lot of people are going to like this movie because of Wanda. A lot of people are going to like this movie just because they like Marvel, and that's okay. Definitely go see this movie. Definitely see it. Get your own opinion about it. That's 100% fine. I'm never going to tell you to just not see a movie because I think it's shit or I don't think it's good. Go see it. Get your own opinion. People didn't like the Batman. People didn't like Spider-Man No Way Home. That's fine. But, go see this, and if you don't like it, I understand why. And, if you do like it, good. There's parts I like about it. There's parts I like about it. But overall, not the best for me, man. Alright, that's going to be it. If you guys want more of these reviews, comment, like, subscribe, all kind of good stuff. Peace out, nerds. I'll catch y'all boys later.